Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast, where we discuss what's happening in the cryptosphere and trading on Earth as it is in heaven. Buckle up and huddle on while we dive in and get weird. Here are your hosts, Joshua and Kim.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a beautiful Monday afternoon with the Market Mystics.
Welcome, everybody. Let's kick this off and get into some market updates. I'm excited about this and I want to get straight to it because everything's green.
Yeah. I remember a couple weeks ago when we did our St. Patrick's Day episode, we were commenting how the market was green to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and it's just kind of continued.
It's been a long celebration and I am A-okay with that.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's first look at global market cap of cryptocurrency. So in 24 hours, it's up 5.8%. It is kind of hovering near the $2.2 trillion mark, which is pretty great because probably for the last month, it's been under 2 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
But
that 2 trillion mark seems to be like a key place, like whether or not we can stay above 2 or if it goes under 2. Because I know when everything's selling, we're always under it. And when everything's good, I think, was it like over 3 or something when Bitcoin was at its all-time high last year? But that 2 mark seems to be a really important place.
Maybe an indicator we need to keep an eye on. Okay, so 7 days, it's up almost 13%, the market cap is, which is a pretty large increase. So that means people are getting into the markets, and that is, in my opinion, wonderful.
Exactly.
The other thing that I think is super notable is 6 of the top 10 coins by market cap are up double digits in the last 7 days. So that's number 1, number 2, 4, 7, 8, and 10. So Bitcoin, ETH, BNB, Cardano, Solana, and Polkadot. They are ranging anywhere from 11% up, which is BNB, the Binance coin, all the way up to, let me see what the highest is, 38.9% with Cardano.
That's wild.
That is a large leap. Almost 40% in 7 days up. I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I'm A-okay with all of it. But I think it's quite remarkable. And ADA is one of those that it was talked about a lot, kind of second quarter of last year, I would say. And it's kind of lost at least the momentum in the news, I would say. I haven't heard a whole lot about it recently until like this week. And everyone is saying what a bull run it's on.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it's sustainable because there was, last year when it had its big run, there were big investors buying into it. There were big businesses buying into it. It was starting to be used in real world applications in places. And then it just kind of, the whole market went down a bit and then it just kind of sat still for a while. But now that the market's picking up a bit, it's picking up faster than the other coins were. So it'll be interesting to see if that holds true or if it just has a quick spike and then doesn't do much. It'll be a fun coin to watch.
That's true. It's currently at number 7 on the market cap ranking list. I'll be curious to see that if it holds momentum, if it moves up in rank as more people are investing. Okay, so that was 6 of the top 10. 2 others are stable coins. They better not have ups and downs in the last 24 hours or 7 days. That's normal. We don't expect to see that. So that's Tether, which is USDT, and USDC. But then that leaves us 2 other coins, XRP and Luna, which are respectively number 6 and 9 on the list. but they're up as well, just not as much as the rest. So XRP is up 5% in 24 hours, almost 9% in 7 days. Luna, which Luna's one I'm always watching. Luna's up 5% 24 hours, 4.8% in 7 days. So everything's still moving. But that top 10 is looking pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good time to be in crypto. I went to the chiropractor this morning and I walked in the door and he goes, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing pretty good." And he's like, "I bet you are, because crypto's doing pretty good."
You're like, thanks for noticing. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so just a couple other notable changes in the top 50 coins over the last 70 days or 70 days. 7 days, I'm sorry. VeChain is up 47.6% in
Wow.
7 days. Filecoin 43%, Axie Infinity 37, ICP, which is Internet Computer Protocol, is up 30.5%, and Theta is up 29.3%. Those are big gains, you guys.
Yeah.
And these are only the top 50 coins. I was going beyond that, but there would be too many to even try to mention. It's a wild time right now. I hope that this can be sustained. Maybe not the momentum that it is now is realistic, but I'd like to see some real upward motion for a while.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but it's really about that stable increase, not the extreme volatile increase. I was just scrolling through, looking through the top 100 to see, what's the top mover in 24 hours in the top 100. And there's a coin I've never even heard of it. It's called Power Cash. It's up in 24 hours, it's up 629%. In 7 days, it's up 1,350%.
Wow. And that's
Those are
top 100.
not those are not gains that are sustainable.
No.
I mean, and that's what are things like that possible in crypto? Does it happen regularly? Yes. Can you make insane amounts of money doing that? Yes. But also, coins that tend to have volatile moves up like that tend to also have extreme moves down like that.
That is true.
And that can be really rough. The other thing that's notable about that coin is its 24-hour volume is only 83,000. So even if you had been an investor and made 500%, it's probably going to be hard to get your money out of that coin. Unless it just sticks around and becomes popular. It's just there's not much movement out of it. So those are just, I mean, it's awesome to see everything gaining, but I want to see it happen in a stable, steady increase where there are those step ups and then step downs and step ups and step downs, because that's what brings about a price level that's sustainable.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Sustainability is what we want to see. So it is volatile, but it has the potential to be at a level of volatility that could be conducive to sustainability.
Yeah,
And that's what we're looking for.
exactly.
Yes.
So what are some of the things going on that may contribute to the price increases?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I have no idea, because things around the world have been so wild with either big adoption or big regulation.
Right? It's just constantly back and forth. That seems to be the way things are at this point, is you have countries that are fully jumping into it, and then you have countries that are like, no, we don't want anything to do with that.
Absolutely. I was scrolling through a bunch of news over the last few days, and just on the topic of adoption, I this is kind of there were a lot of headlines about this, and I'm not quite sure why it made so much news, but Madonna has hopped aboard the Bored Ape Yacht Club and she has purchased her first ape. And I will tell you, people are both thrilled about it and pissed about it.
I think it's so interesting how certain NFTs have become a status symbol.
Real.
Like, and I mean, obviously, Bored Ape is one of the top NFTs that are out there, but I mean, it's for there's just not a lot of other things in the world that people care about a celebrity buying. I mean, you hear stories like, oh, a celebrity bought a rare car, and like maybe that gets a little bit of movement if you're in that car world, but the NFTs are a special thing. Like there's something about it that's catching people's eye that I never thought would have cared.
I know it is pretty wild to see that. We've we've talked about it, we've heard about it, all these different celebrities, but it is continuing to really become this solid status symbol, really, especially the Bored Apes. I know there are offshoots of that, and there are crypto punks, and what are the kitty ones?
Oh, I don't remember their name.
You would think I would know more about this. Obviously, I'm really into the status of it, but but these top NFT lines, they really are becoming this, and more platforms are starting to integrate NFTs into being able to be profile pictures, which are just yet another way to display that status for the whole world to see. I was reading last week that they've announced that they're working on integrating NFTs so that people can connect their wallets and use them as their profile pictures.
Yeah.
No surprise there. But Twitter's already been doing this. It's just becoming more and more widespread.
Well, and I was curious which one Madonna bought, and I see she actually got a cheap one. She only had to pay 570,000 for it.
How dare she? She really just limped in, didn't she?
Oh, that's crazy.
Although in true Madonna style, remember when she was all into Kabbalah, which is like the mystic Jewish, I don't know, practice movement, whatever you would call it. Obviously, I don't know enough about it to properly explain it, but she bought this one that has eyeballs all over it, and she talked about protection from the evil eye. In her Twitter announcement of her purchase. There are people who manage these accounts, you guys. There are people whose jobs it is to announce for celebrities that they've purchased a Bored Ape.
Interesting.
Oh, it's wild.
I see in there that in her Twitter post, she also thanks MoonPay, and I'm 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 curious. I'm curious why she thanked them. I mean, I'm familiar with them as an intermediary between fiat to crypto, but I'm curious about why or how she got connected with them, or why she thanked them in that. I'll have to do some more research.
I'm kind of glad you're bringing that up, because you almost have to wonder, is this an endorsement? Right?
Did MoonPay buy it for hers, and then
something,
and now she's endorsing their platform?
And then I also have to wonder, because I've used MoonPay and I've experienced the fees that come with their services. Was the Bored Ape itself $500,000, or was that the total price, including all of the fees?
That's a good question. I'm guessing that it probably the Bored Ape was that much, and then she had to pay fees on top of that. But I don't know.
That's wild. Okay. Well, moving on from Madonna, I actually can't believe we spent so much time
It
on.
was very interesting though.
Okay, well, we talked about Instagram integrating wallets and the ability to use NFTs, but Meta, which is what Facebook is now, what used to be Facebook.
I still
Um,
call it Facebook.
I
I'm
do too.
not going to give them the credit of Meta.
I think everybody calls it Facebook still, right? You don't go log into Meta.
Right.
Okay, well, it's reported that Meta had previously filed 8 trademark applications for its logo to cover a wide range of digital purposes, 6 of which explicitly refer to cryptocurrency and blockchain-based technologies, including tokens, wallets, and exchanges. I also find it interesting that this isn't out in the forefront, but they're making moves. Remember when they had their native token they were trying to establish, and then
Yeah.
they like jump ship and they
It faced a lot of opposition and regulation. They sort of just were like, nope, we're done.
right, but obviously they've not abandoned the whole concept. So it'll be interesting to see what it is that they're moving on, what we're going to see coming from them in the future. Obviously Instagram is connected with Meta. That was the segue there. But we know what's already been reported to be rolling out there. I wonder if they'll roll things out in Facebook, or if it will all be on different platform. Like, what's happening with that? Because Facebook feels to me very web 2.
Yeah. It does, but I even just their changing of their corporate name to Meta implies a direction of moving towards Web3.
It's true. Very true. Okay.
Mm.
What else is happening in adoption?
Well, let's see. We've got Florida working on possible ways that you can use crypto for taxes or Bitcoin specifically, which when I think this is what you see most often when there is a country, city, state that is working with crypto, you tend to see them accepting Bitcoin sooner than you see them accepting altcoins. And I think that's just because Bitcoin's been around, it's established, it has legitimacy, it's being used.
Oh no, you froze. Could you tell?
Yeah.
You said Bitcoin is being established, it's being used.
Yeah. It has legitimacy in other places that are functioning with it. So I think that that's why it tends to be the one that people are looking at. But it makes me excited for the state of Florida because it will be, I mean, if they do that, it will be the first state. I mean, there's other states that have implied they'd like to be
Mhm.
crypto friendly, but it'll be interesting to see which state is the first one to do that. And with Florida's already friendly view towards personal income taxes, I think that they could really draw people into their state, into their economy by adopting some of this.
Absolutely. We've talked about, I think it was Tennessee and Arizona before, that had proposed bills to be crypto friendly, especially Bitcoin friendly. But what I think is different about Florida, you said this with the tax being a bit more friendly toward taxes anyway, but also Miami is the place where they do the Bitcoin conference every year. So Florida is already known for cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
kind of globally, because of that conference. It is in my opinion, it is the biggest cryptocurrency conference out there.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, cool. Also, I thought this was notable. Galaxy Digital announced that it facilitated Goldman Sachs's first over-the-counter cryptocurrency transaction. Goldman Sachs is the first major US bank to have made such a crypto transaction. It's notable because the banking industry has started out so anti-crypto. No, this isn't going to be a thing. It's all about the central bank. They're doing what they're doing. And then this shows there's a shift.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a big name in the banking industry. And so I think we need to kind of pay attention to this stuff because the widespread mass adoption could be coming very quickly.
I think if banks don't want to lose their relevancy, or if they don't want to just lose their businesses, one of the best things that they could do would be to develop and implement wallet storage for people's crypto. So just like your online banking would have your fiat currencies in there, you could also send and store your crypto there. I think that would be the best move that banks could do if they really want to stay in
Relevant.
business
Yeah.
as we move towards a more digital world.
I feel like this could be a whole other episode just talking through what that could potentially look like.
Yeah.
I think that could be both good and bad. But I like the perspective. I haven't thought about that. And that
I'm not
is
saying I'm necessarily a fan of that happening because, as we've talked about, I'm a big proponent of decentralization and people having their control of their crypto. But if I was a bank in this situation, I would certainly be looking into that, because otherwise I'm going to be losing customers and I'm going to be losing value that my bank holds.
how interesting. Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. Wild. Okay, so one more thing. For adoption, Malaysia's parliament last Monday, it was the deputy minister of communications and multimedia, replied to a question from the opposition about crypto legislation and said that Malaysia should adopt Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency as legal tender before adding, "We hope the government can allow this." So maybe they're not actually adopting it, but it's always helpful when someone high up in the government is a proponent, because that's when you can really start seeing movement on that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Malaysia's neighbor to the north, Thailand, last Wednesday, they announced it was implementing a ban on crypto starting April 1st.
Hopefully it's
And
just an April Fool's joke.
I know, right? Right. The official announcement cited concerns that cryptocurrencies may destabilize the nation's economy. So interesting to see the different perspectives in this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and
And
these are like fairly small countries right next to each other with completely opposite opinions.
right. Yeah. It's so interesting to see the countries that are accepting it and see the countries that aren't, and then see the people who oppose the decisions on both sides. I mean, I look at El Salvador, and there's certainly been people attacking them for accepting it, but then there's countries that ban it, and there's certainly people that are attacking them for that side of it too. So it's very interesting to see the variety of opinions and reasons why people want it or don't want it.
Absolutely. Let's see what else. Okay. Also last Wednesday, Jerome Powell, everybody knows that name, is the US Federal Reserve Chair, who always comes out and talks about raising or not raising the interest rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he spoke to a panel organized by the Bank for International Settlements, a global organization of central banks. And he reiterated his well-known concerns that crypto could destabilize existing financial institutions, That's what we're going for. Side note, that's what decentralization is about. Well, not all about, but anyway, Powell called on states to overhaul their existing regulations to not be accepting cryptocurrency, which is interesting because, again, and we've talked about this before, it's implying that the power really does lie in the hands of the states and not so much the federal government.
Mm,
Isn't that interesting?
that is interesting.
And I think that would be the route that I would prefer in this country. I'm American, and I would prefer they give the states the ability to choose, but I guess we'll see.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think in America we will see anytime soon a change from the US dollar, but what I would like to see is parallel systems running alongside it where states and retailers are functioning in both the US dollar and in Bitcoin. I
Sure.
think that would be an excellent move forward. And as we move to more digital things, that just kind of lays the foundation for easier adoption.
Agreed. I would love to see it just because I understand why a national currency is important, but I also really think we've gotten to the point where people need to be able to take control of their own personal finances and choose for themselves
Mm,
how they want to hold their money, how they want to spend their money. Um, and I think having, just like you said, a parallel system where you can decide one or the other or do both, um, it could be so beneficial. It could be so life giving
yeah,
to people who have just kind of been in a system and they don't even know that there is freedom to do something else.
exactly.
Yeah, wild. Okay, last thing on the list, and this is a big one. The European Union has proposed a crackdown on non-custodial crypto wallets. When we say non-custodial crypto wallets, we mean like MetaMask, Wallet Connect, and any hard wallets like Ledger or Trezor.
Yeah. Trust wallet, all the
Yes,
ones, all the ones like that.
all the ones like that. And if you don't know, if you don't have one of those wallets, currently, all you have to do is open a wallet. You get the keys, you keep the keys. We've talked about this in our decentralization um, episode. Who has the keys has the wallet,
Mhm.
and then you can use it to hold things. It is similar to going to the store, purchasing a wallet and putting it in your pocket. You have possession of it. It is yours. It can hold money
Mhm. Yep.
or it could not hold money. I mean, your choice,
Yeah.
whatever, right? But
And
that's
I'm
really what
sure
wallets are.
their biggest issue the with those wallets is that they're not KYC'd. They don't know who owns them. So
Mhm.
similar to what we were talking about during the Canada trucker protests when they were freezing some of their accounts, they couldn't freeze the accounts of the people of the crypto accounts who there was no record of who actually owned it. And that's the big issue with that. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out for them. I think what you will probably the easiest thing that people will start doing is like Coinbase has a wallet and crypto.com has a wallet, but both of those are connected to your account. And so they, by proxy, are KYC wallets because they know who owns them. So I could see that being an easy step in there. Um, but it certainly is a push against decentralization.
That is exactly what I was going to say. This is a good example of proposed legislation because it's proposed at this point, um, but aggressively against decentralization.
Mhm.
And the European Union is that's a,
Substantial.
it is substantial. This is multiple countries with a lot of influence in the world. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I don't love some of the verbiage in it. It's a bit aggressive. I mean, they're talking about that a service provider should provide information that is accurate, incomplete, or suspicious to the government of the EU. And it should assess on a risk-sensitive basis whether to reject or suspend a transaction and whether to report the transaction or relevant financial intelligence to them, which that sounds a lot like mega big brother, like biggest brother ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, the crypto community, though, is not being quiet about this. It's interesting to see some of the responses to this. Coinbase's chief policy officer tweeted that the latest draft could significantly violate individual financial freedom, irreparably harm the crypto economy, and stifle the future of innovation across the EU. Those are bold words, but I don't think that they're unwarranted. With the amount of oversight they're asking for, ooh, this is going to be one to watch, you guys. What happens with the EU and the wallets?
Yeah, that will, if they successfully pass it, I don't think it'll be long before other places follow in their footsteps.
Absolutely. And again, it would be different if this was one individual country that doesn't hold a lot of influence on the global economy, but it's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, technically the euro is stronger than the dollar is, so
Technically, like 100% legitimately.
it's a big deal. I mean, this decision and how it plays out will be a massive impact on the rest of the crypto world.
Absolutely.
At least, maybe not necessarily in prices and like what you see out of coins, but in how coins are able to be used this will have a big impact.
Absolutely. One other comment that came from, I cannot pronounce this name. His first name is Simon, but he's a former policy analyst at the Dutch central bank who now focuses on crypto regulations. He had much harsher words about the proposal. He said, if you want to kill privacy, this is the best way to do it. No way this will stand up over time, but in 15 years' time, a lot of damage can still be done. Eek.
You know, we've talked a lot about privacy, somewhat on the show, somewhat in our personal lives. But one thing you often see is massive step forwards that are met with a ton of opposition. And so they scale it back a bit and then implement that because it's an easier pill to swallow. But it's still a step forward in your lack of privacy. And so I'll be interested to see, maybe the EU doesn't land exactly like this, like they're proposing, but is it still a step forward? And over time, are they able to keep inching the ball towards this point?
Exactly. I guess we'll see. Okay, that's
All right.
about all we have for today. Thanks for joining. We'll see you on Thursday.
See you guys later.
Thank you for listening. Join us every Monday and Thursday as we discuss trading on earth as it is in heaven. If you want to connect further, follow us on social media at market.mystics for Instagram and TikTok, and search for Market Mystics on YouTube and Facebook. If you still need more, follow the link on Facebook to book a coaching appointment. Until next time, see ya.